talking about the Titans here. The Titans.
Swing and a drive, left field. It's going. It is gone. It is bedlam at the bank.
The Philadelphia Phillies are 2008 World Champions of Baseball.
Podcast right here. You already know. Go fucking subscribe.
You are now listening to the 302 Birds Phillies postgame show with KJ McCoy, Jesse Sharon, Dalt, and Fratty. Proudly powered by TickPick. Check out the link in the bio for $10 off your first order today. Let's take it to the show.
What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome on in to the Phillies postgame show. The Phillies dropped the series finale versus the Pittsburgh Pirates. But to go through it all, I have the first Phillies fan guest of the 302 Birds Phillies postgame 2026 season. Please, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the show, AntRed03 on Instagram. Anthony, how we doing, man?
Doing good, watch the tough loss, getting over, but just feeling good. I'm glad to be here.
Yeah, well, the Phillies, unfortunately, they could not get it done. A lot of it, I feel like, had to do with the heat. But, with the way that the heat was going, the way that the Phillies pitching was aligned today, it just wasn't set up for success, in my opinion. You had Rangel on the mound, who actually did really solid today, but this bullpen, back end, it was not great. What were your overall takeaways from today's game?
Well, I thought, as you pointed out, I thought the heat was very, very played a big factor, and I just think that the bullpen didn't come and show up. Rangel tried. He had some sort of arsenal to start the game, but then started giving up a few runs, and then the bullpen came in and just didn't have it. Backus, Jonathan Bolin, Alvarado gave up a triple in a much-needed situation. It was tough today.
It was really tough. The offense was the other problem. How was your, do you think, I'll ask you this, and I've asked a lot of people on the show, do you think the Phillies need a bat at the deadline?
Yes, I definitely do think a right-handed bat, definitely. Maybe somebody like a Byron Buxton or Mike Trout, even though it's probably not going to be likely. It's still possible, but not likely. Or Taylor Ward, somebody of that nature, somebody who can provide pop in this lineup so Don can put him in, maybe the 5th or 6th spot or 4th spot at best.
Yeah. Later on in this game, Justin Crawford, he really made a bad play out in center field. To me, Justin Crawford has been a guy that has actually stepped up lately in the batter's box. I know he's not a power hitter. He will never be a power hitter. That's just not his thing. But it's tough, especially from what we've seen from him in center field. To me, he's been really solid out there. But do you think off the bat, were you expecting Justin Crawford to make that play?
Well, kind of, not really. I think that Justin Crawford is a superb future star in the makings. I think it takes a little time to get used to the game and excel your game. But Justin Crawford, he's exciting to watch out in the outfield. He's very fast, a guy who has a lot of speed, a guy that can get a lot of hits. And, he's a speed threat every time he gets on. And him and Brandon Marsh are a lethal duo of speed outfielders. And I just think that Justin Crawford, he has great playmaking ability out in the outfield. And did I expect him to make that play? I kind of did.
Yeah. we talked about the bullpen, but just to go over it a little bit, it was really, it was unfortunately not what you want to see. You had Tim Mesa come in and let up a run. He's actually been really solid on the year with a 2.95 ERA. Bolin comes in, allows 2 hits, and escapes the inning with no runs allowed, 2 strikeouts. Alvarado, man, I'm getting pissed off with Alvarado. It just has go to show I don't think he can pitch without the juice.
Yeah.
I don't think he can pitch
Yeah,
without the juice, man.
I mean, Alvarado, he went from a guy who we traded for back years ago with the Tampa Bay Rays, and he went from a guy that had his stuff and then lost his stuff, and then we sent him down back to AAA to figure out again. Then he comes back up and shows a little bit of hope, and then all of a sudden he can't pitch no more. Like, Alvarado is a complete mess right now.
And again, this kind of is a situation where you've got guys like Aaron Nola, like Painter, who the Phillies sent down, that I feel like need some sort of rest in AAA, some sort of reset in AAA. But you've got issues in the back of the bullpen that I don't think the Phillies have the depth right now to replace him. I mean, Keller's going to come back at some point, which is great. Maybe you replace him with him, but I don't know. What do you think the Phillies should do with Alvarado? Because you can't trade him right now, or can you? I don't know. What do you think?
I think what you should do with Alvarado is move him like into the 6th inning role, maybe 5th inning role if he comes in early, and switch him out with somebody especially when Brad Keller, as you mentioned, is going to be coming back off of IL. Maybe the Phillies can look for bullpen help, maybe Aroldis Chapman, somebody. But it's all about the prospects. Like, the Phillies, do you really have a strong farm system to acquire somebody big? Because I don't think that they have enough to get a bat and a reliever. It's really, really hard with this. When you look at other organizations like the Dodgers and the Yankees and the Braves, even though their farm system has struggled of lately, when you look at all the other teams in the league and their farm systems, they have enough pieces to move around to acquire somebody with a bat and a reliever. The Phillies, you just don't have that. You might be able to make one big move and one minor move.
Yeah, I mean, I'm more of the mindset. Like, I look at some of our farm system. I look at Aiden Miller. I look at Gage Wood, Francisco Renteria, who's a 17-year-old guy who's been absolutely outstanding. I think I'm more of the mindset that I'm willing to trade some of these guys. Like, if you have the opportunity to get a superstar, like the Sixers did with Paul George, people were like, I don't want to like try. I don't want to like necessarily turn this into a Sixers show, but they traded first-round picks. They traded a couple first-round picks for Jaylen Brown. I would do that 100% of the time, 10 times out of 10, because it's Jaylen Brown. That guy is a superstar in the making. He's going to get you a ring. And if the Phillies have the opportunity to do something like that at the deadline, I feel like you have to go and make that sort of move.
Yeah. I mean, when you look at the big names, I mentioned Byron Buxton, Mike Trout, it's just about if you can get them to waive their no-trade clause. Because as I've mentioned before on my videos, they have no trade clause. So if you can kind of convince them, that's going to be their decision. If they're able to waive their no trade clause, then you have to put your foot on the gas and make that move to get somebody. Because knowing the Phillies, the window is closing year by year by year by year. The guys, as a lot of analysts have mentioned, they're getting up there in age. I mean, Bryce is 33, JT's 35, Trey's 33, Kyle's 33. Like, they're not like, it's not like they're 25 and under anymore. Like, you got to get them some help in order to have a chance at making the World Series and possibly winning the World Series.
Yeah, I agree. Especially because of the lockout in 27. Like, you might not even
Oh,
have
yeah,
baseball in 2027. That's a whole other aspect, man.
Yeah. And really, we got the Dodgers to thank for it.
Yep.
When they went out and signed Kyle Tucker. Yeah.
Yeah. I 100% agree. I'm 100,000% on the in terms of the lockout. I'm 100% on the side of the players. I know these guys are making ridiculous contracts, but when you have the Dodgers that are going out and buying up these super teams, and you have the other end of the aspect where you have like the Reds. I know Rona Sports, who's a good friend of mine, is in the chat. When you he's a Reds fan. When you have teams like the Reds, when you have teams like the Marlins, like the White Sox, like all these other teams that don't spend money, and then you have teams like the Dodgers, it is just, it makes this game so much worse because it gets to a
Because
point.
knowing the Dodgers, it's like the Dodgers, they have a lot of money to do whatever they want. It's like the other teams, when you look at, as you mentioned, Miami and the Reds, they're small market teams that don't have what the Dodgers or the Yankees or the Mets or somebody or the Cubs, they don't have the money to spend like they do.
Yep. Yeah, 100% agree. All right, let's move on to this Royals series coming up for the Philadelphia Phillies. They have an off day tomorrow. Then they go on Friday. The first game of the series, Luzardo is on the mound against, it says TBD. Although, I'm not going to lie, the Royals pitching doesn't entirely scare me. So that's game one. Game two, Nola goes for game two of the series. Again, no pitcher announced for the Royals in game two. Game three, that's a 2:10 Eastern start. Christopher Sanchez, as a good friend of the show, Alice Cole, who's a producer on WIP, likes to call the Slim Dominican, goes for game three.
Mm-hmm.
Again, no pitcher announced for the Royals. And then you move on to Cincinnati. But for this Royals series, this is a good opportunity for the Phillies to go out west and prove your dominance. This is what great teams do. They beat the bad teams. And the Royals, right now, they are a awful team. They are 35-62 on the year. They have Phillies legend Matt Strahm, who has been struggling big time, may I add. But this is a great opportunity for the Phillies, not just to win the series, but I think they're going to sweep. What do you think?
Yeah. I think you got to go for a sweep. 2 out of 3 would be nice, but if you can go out west and beat the Royals in their own place at the K, you have a perfect opportunity to get more up in the standings, especially in the wild card. And knowing that the Phillies are only 2.5 out of the Braves, it's not unthinkable to think that they can catch them and overtake them and retake the lead in the NL East.
Yeah, I'm like, I cannot believe the Braves are having such a skid they are. I really thought that at some point, you'd get to a point where the Braves are 10 games up and, we got to settle for a wild card spot. And honestly, I don't know. I feel like, and you can absolutely disagree, I kind of like the Phillies better in the playoffs as a wild card team. I really do. Because you look at 22. Go ahead. Go ahead.
No, I 100% agree.
Yeah.
The Phillies.
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
No, you go.
Yeah. Okay. So 2022, the Phillies were at a bad crossroads. Early in the year, they fired Joe Girardi, the worst manager I think I've ever seen. And then you lose Bryce Harper. He gets hit in the arm, and all hope is lost. Then the Phillies go on this insane run. But the Braves, they had an all-time season that year. I forget if it was that year or 23. They won like 100 games. then they go in, they beat the crap out of the Cardinals. They come in, they get some momentum under their belt with those games. You don't have to get a break. You don't have to sit out, get loose, get what's the word? Oh my God, I can't think of the word. Loose and out of shape, essentially, I guess is the word I would put it. Then you go, so you have, the momentum, you play the Braves, you beat the Braves, and you've got, again, the fire, the little bit of a swagger, and you go in and you beat the Padres for the NL crown in 2022. And I mean, I get the argument for getting some rest. It's a 162 game season, but I really like the idea of not really, getting that rest and being out of shape. Yeah, I know they played this, mock game in seasons past, which helps, I guess, a little bit, but. I don't know. What do you think about the Phillies maybe coming in as a wild card team?
Well, I think it's better, as you mentioned, because when they went on that run in 2022 and 2023, they had better momentum going in. And I think the rest that they had, 2024, 25, killed them when they had to go against the Mets and the Dodgers, who, by the way, the Mets were at the time just going on a spectacular run. And it kind of just felt like the Phillies were lost out there. And then, as we saw last year against the Dodgers, they just looked like a completely lost team out there. The guys couldn't put the bat on the ball. They were struggling. They couldn't handle the pressure of the situation, and it backfired on them. So I think, personally, having a wild card spot is the best bet for this Philadelphia Phillies team moving forward.
Yeah, I 100% agree. All right, man. Well, I think that's going to wrap it up for the Phillies postgame show. Phillies dropped the series, or not dropped the final game of the series, 6-1 versus the Pittsburgh Pirates, and they will go for a new series out to Kansas City, Missouri, against the Kansas City Royals. Now, before we go, I try to give our fellow guests the opportunity to promote themselves on whatever platform they may choose. So where can the people find your stuff, man?
Hey guys, I'm Anthony Red. You can find me at AntRed03 on my Instagram, my TikTok, AntRediculous2003, and my Twitter account at Rediculous03.
All right, man.
We'll
go.
You can find me at the code Red Philly Sports Talk.
Sweet. All right, man. Well, everybody go follow that stuff. Want to thank my good friend Gavin for getting us connected. And whenever we can get you in as a guest, I definitely look forward to making that happen. But thank you, Anthony, for coming on. Phillies lose the series finale and go for another win on Friday. Thank you all for watching. Thank you, Next Pizza and Tic Tac for sponsoring today's stream. And let's go, Phillies.
The Vikings.
Swing and a drive, left field. It's gone! It is gone! It is Bedlam at the bank!
The Philadelphia Phillies are 2008 World Champions of Baseball.
Podcast right here. You already know. Go fucking subscribe.
You are now listening to the 302 Birds Phillies postgame show. Proudly powered by TickPick. Check out the link in the bio for $10 off your first order today.